Ever look at the city around you, all the cranes, the for lease signs, the new buildings, and wonder what's really going on behind the scenes? Well, today, we are pulling back the curtain on commercial real estate. We're going to decode the powerful currents that decide why one building thrives and another one, well, doesn't. Let's dive in.
So here's a puzzle you're probably seeing in cities all over the world. You've got this shiny downtown office tower, right? But it's half empty. Meanwhile, way out on the edge of town, they can't build warehouses fast enough. Now, this isn't random. It's a huge signal of some deep economic shifts. And the key to solving this puzzle? It's actually way simpler than you might think.
The secret language of the entire real estate market comes down to two words: demand drivers. That's it. These are the basic, fundamental forces in our economy and society that create the need for physical space. So forget the noisy headlines for a minute. If you can get a handle on these drivers, you can pretty much read the future of any building in any neighborhood.
To really get this, let's think about it like we're building a pyramid. You gotta have a strong base, right? At the very bottom, holding everything else up, are four foundational economic forces. These are the big ones. They set the stage for literally everything else. First up, and this is the big one, the number one driver, employment growth. Just think about it for a second. Every single new job creates this ripple effect. More jobs means more people who need a place to work, whether that's in an office, a lab, a factory, you name it. This isn't just a factor, it's the absolute bedrock of commercial real estate demand. Right alongside jobs, you have population growth. I mean, it's pretty obvious, right? More people need more places to live, which is why the apartment market goes crazy. But they also become the customers who fill up all the shops and restaurants. And they are the workforce that powers every single business in town. A growing city is a hungry city, and what it's hungry for is space. Okay, but it's not just about how many people there are. It's about how much money they have to spend. When incomes and wages go up, people buy more stuff, which fuels retail, and they can afford to pay higher rents. For businesses, higher profits mean they can finally ditch that old, crummy building and move into a brand new one with all the bells and whistles. The pros call this a flight to quality, and it all starts with a healthy paycheck. And finally, at the base of our pyramid, we have the big picture, gross domestic product, or GDP. When the economy as a whole is expanding, it means businesses are growing. And when businesses grow, they need more of everything. More space for their people, their inventory, their operations. GDP is really the ultimate scorecard for that expansion.
All right, so we've got our foundation set. Solid. But now let's move up the pyramid, because this is where things get really interesting. We are living through a massive shift, a real tale of two completely different real estate worlds.
This chart says it all. We're seeing this huge split. The fate of the office market now hangs on things like white-collar job numbers and these endless debates about return to office. But look at the industrial side. It is just on fire, completely driven by the e-commerce explosion and our demand for things to show up at our door, like yesterday. What you're seeing is a classic substitution effect. The demand that used to go into a physical shopping mall is now being rerouted into a giant warehouse.
Now, looking at these big national trends is cool and all, but it doesn't tell you the whole story. Not even close. To really, truly understand what's going on, you have to zoom in. Because if there's one golden rule in this business, it's that all real estate is local.
I want you to picture a giant funnel. Way up at the top, you've got the national economy, interest rates, big federal policies setting the broad conditions. Then, the funnel narrows to regional trends, like the massive migration to the Sun Belt, which channels demand. It gets even more focused at the city level, where local job growth is king. And finally, it all comes down to the submarket, the specific neighborhood, where stuff like a new transit line or cool restaurants can make all the difference. And these local factors, they can act like massive amplifiers. You know, think of a city that's stuck between mountains and the ocean. There's just no room to build, so demand for what's already there goes through the roof. Now, what if you add great highways, top-notch schools, and low business taxes to that mix? All of a sudden, you can have one neighborhood absolutely booming, while the one right next door is just flat, all inside the same city.
So we've got the huge foundational forces, we've got the local factors. The final piece of the puzzle, the very tip of our pyramid, is learning how to read the trends like a pro. And this means knowing that not all changes are created equal.
This right here is probably the most crucial distinction an analyst can make. Is a trend cyclical or is it structural? A cyclical trend, like a recession or high interest rates, is temporary. It hurts, but the market eventually bounces back. A structural trend, though, that's a permanent, fundamental rewiring of how things work. The shift to remote work, the rise of e-commerce, these aren't just temporary blips. They have forever changed the game for office and industrial space. Knowing the difference is everything.
So when you put it all together, from the base of that pyramid to the very tip, we've built a really powerful framework for seeing our cities in a completely new light. You basically have the analyst's toolkit now.
That empty office tower and that booming warehouse, they aren't a mystery anymore, are they? They're just chapters in a bigger story. A story that's being written every day by jobs, by population shifts, by technology, and by local decisions. When you understand these drivers, you can read the story of what's happening right now, and you can get a pretty good idea of what the next chapter is going to be.
So the next time you walk or drive through your city, don't just see buildings. See the forces that are shaping them. You have the tools now. You can read the story. So the only real question left is, what's the next big structural shift that you see coming over the horizon?